Boba Fett is escorting a bounty to Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine. Jabba's palace is in celebration. He was known to throw lavish parties with a house band, dancers, and all manner of criminals and cutthroats in attendance. Boba decides to stick around for the festivities. Then, the party is interrupted by another bounty hunter named Bosch. The bounty hunter is there to retrieve the bounty on the head of Chewbacca, the faithful companion of Han Solo. This is when things start to go wrong for Boba Fett. If you're new to the channel or just haven't committed yet, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to be updated when I release new content. Also, hit the thumbs up and share the video to show your love for what I do here. Let's get this channel to explode like the belly of a crate dragon after a Mandalorian shows up on the scene. Jabba and his band of merry henchmen catch the bounty hunter, Bosch, in the act of freeing Han Solo from his carbonite stasis. Only, it isn't a real bounty hunter. In fact, it is Princess Leia Organa. Jabba seems to have been ready for this moment, and it suits him fine, as his last slave girl, Oola, was fed to the Rancor just below the throne room, and now he needs a replacement. Leia will do just great for this role. Now, Jabba has Han Solo, Chewbacca, Leia, and the droids. There is one piece missing that he doesn't know about though: Luke Skywalker. The newly trained Jedi Knight gains access to Jabba through his weak-minded manservant, Bib Fortuna. Luke tells Jabba to free his friends or there will be consequences. Jabba laughs it off. This is not the first dealing he's had with a Jedi. Luke's father actually returned Jabba's son to him after the Separatists kidnapped him. But this is of no consequence. Don't enter Jabba's throne room and threaten him. There is a small price for Luke's arrogance, though. He is dropped down into the Rancor pit below. After Luke is sent to the Rancor pit, he kills the Rancor, enraging Jabba. The Hutt gangster then makes the call that Luke and all of his friends will be taken to the pit of Carkoon and fed to the Sarlacc that has made its home there. A giant mouth hole lined with rows of teeth and tentacles. The monster keeps its victims alive for 1,000 years as it digests them slowly, keeping them in agony the entire time as they are devoured. Once everyone in attendance reaches the Sarlacc, Luke gives a signal. R2-D2 launches Luke's lightsaber toward him, and with the help of disguised Lando Calrissian, the action springs to life. Boba Fett witnesses the events and quickly uses his jetpack to get in the action, an attempt to stop the intruders from escaping. He lassos Luke with his grappling line, and Luke easily cuts free. A couple of deflected blasts to Luke, and his weapon is rendered useless. Luke jumps away to another vehicle to get closer to the sail barge carrying Jabba the Hutt. Boba Fett takes aim and, just then, the blind Han Solo stands up, holds his force pike, turns around, and bumps into Boba Fett's jetpack clumsily. This hit causes Boba's jetpack to ignite prematurely and send him flying off into the side of Jabba's barge. He then falls and tumbles into the Sarlacc's mouth. It's an embarrassing chain of events for Boba Fett for sure. However, it was taken for granted that he remained in the monster's digestive system to be slowly consumed. How wrong were we? 5 years later, Boba Fett re-emerges as he watches Din Djarin speed away with his armor. Boba's escape seemed impossible. There is no clue as to how he did it, but I would imagine the arsenal he carried on him had a hand to play in it. Or maybe he had help. It seems Dengar was still unaccounted for, and he and Boba were as close as two bounty hunters could be. Also, there's mention of crate dragons that eat Sarlacc. But the question remains, how long was Boba Fett in the pit before his escape? Surely it couldn't have taken him 5 years to find his armor. There are signs to point to the answer. It isn't an exact science, but we can estimate with the clues we are given. As we know, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are not lazy writers. Everything they include has meaning. They don't just slap something together without knowing it will be scrutinized by the Star Wars fandom, so they have to be careful. The clues we are given are those of the condition of Boba Fett's armor when Cobb Vanth scored it from the Jawas. It looks beaten. The paint is missing in most places, and you can tell it had been through hell. Another clue we may have, are the scars on Boba Fett's face. He has what looks to be burn scars covering a lot of his head. So let's look at the first clue, the condition of his armor. It looks bad. The bare Beskar is showing through in most of it, and the paint scheme, if it were damaged any further, would be unrecognizable. But there's just enough paint to know this is the armor of the famed bounty hunter. So, we have to take into consideration how long it takes the Sarlacc to digest its prey, 1,000 years. Now, does that mean it takes 1,000 years to digest any form of matter, or just organic matter? If it is all matter, then we are looking at a separate timeline. The Beskar steel is almost indestructible, but there is a lot more wear and tear to the paint job. Paint would be quick to be dissolved though. The armor definitely looks rough, but another clue is the look of the armor after Boba Fett repaints it. Yes, there are blemishes in it, but most of the damage appears to have been surface level, affecting mostly just the old paint. If it takes 1,000 years to digest the victim and his armor, I will give it between 1 to 3 years that he was in the Sarlacc's digestive system. I know a lot of this is formulaic, but we would need more information about the Sarlacc's digestive system to truly understand how long he's been in there. However, I am going to give a couple ideas of what I think it should be. If the acids act just as quickly on armor, and maybe a little quicker to get the organic matter beneath, yes, that's pure speculation, then he may have only been in there a couple of days, being freed or freeing himself shortly after the events on the sail barge. This also means he would have been roaming Tatooine for about 5 years, searching for his armor, or just watching his armor, which can be possible when you think there isn't just one tribe of Jawas, as evident in The Mandalorian, when we see the off-world Jawas with red eyes on other planets. Now let's look at the burns on his skin. Honestly, this can go several ways. We know Boba Fett went into the pit with his armor on and probably wouldn't have removed it once inside, as it was his only protection. But the fact remains, he is burned. Assuming the scars are from this encounter, he may have got them after he escaped. Maybe by even the Krayt Dragon if a Krayt Dragon ate the Sarlacc. Tired and worn down from his fighting to get out, he stands at the edge of the Sarlacc pit. He hears the sizzle of the acid on his armor, and just before he collapses, he removes the armor. Acid gets on his head from his haste in being free from the vile solution that intends to destroy him. Then, he collapses and becomes unconscious, leaving his armor beside him, and a band of Jawas roving through the land happen upon him. They have no use for a lifeless organic, so they take the armor. I will make another video on this theory later. When we take just the damage to Boba Fett's armor into account, he was probably really in the Sarlacc for only a couple hours to a couple days. Paint easily chips away from steel when acid hits it. I know my first estimate was 1 to 3 years, but that was exaggerated, and just quite a bit. Boba did not sustain that much damage. Over the course of even 5 years, which is how long it had been since we saw him last, you wouldn't expect to see a limb missing or any real major damage to Boba other than skin level. However, he was wearing his armor the entire time, and the skin damage was probably sustained during removal of the burning armor. Unless, of course, the acid made its way through some spot in the armor that was weak. But we don't see these scars on Boba's hands, and his gloved hands were exposed. A couple of days would have made his armor look bad, but the integrity would still be intact. This is evident by the look of the armor after Boba Fett repaints it. It still looks semi-pristine. So yeah, my estimate is between a couple hours and a couple days, no longer than 2 weeks, as we can see evidence in the burning on the armor. Now, why didn't he get his armor back sooner than 5 years? That's a topic for another video. Let me know in the comments below what you think. How long do you think Boba Fett was in the Sarlacc pit? Do you think he was helped out getting out of the Sarlacc pit, maybe by Dengar or a Krayt Dragon or anything like that? I am going to make another video on it, but this is just to keep you on your toes. If you're new to the channel or just haven't committed yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and you'll get updates when I make new videos. Also hit the thumbs up and share the video to show your love for what I do here. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.